Hi guys, welcome to Nick's Knits Podcast. I'm Nick, also known as Knick's Knits on Ravelry, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You can also contact me via our Ravelry group, which is Nick's Knits Podcast. And you can also check out the blog and the podcast with all of the show notes at www.knicksknits.com. So hi guys, welcome to the show. There are no new male knitters this week. If you're a male knitter and you're watching the show and haven't posted in our male knitter thread in the Nick's Knits Ravelry group, you totally should go and do it. I think I might just get straight into whips because I have a lot to tell you guys this week. And, I think that's it. It's beautiful out, so excited to talk to you about summer and all that sort of nice stuff. So, my first whip this week was my sweater, which you guys have seen a billion times before. I'm getting close to finishing the body. So, yep, it's 16 inches for the body, so I am almost there. And I think like 10 more rows, 12 more rows. I got a lot of work done on it because I just didn't have the time to kind of cast something new on, so I just did this. So yeah, and that is the, wait, let me see, I always forget it, the Cobblestone by Jared Flood from Brooklyn Tweed. Let me see if I can find a good photo of it. Maybe, maybe not, probably not. Here we go. Just a simple garter yoke sweater. It's coming along bit by bit. I'll probably have it done for the fall. Probably be one of my Rhinebeck sweaters. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, so I just got some work done on that. Almost done with the body. Just cranking through it. I'm excited to see the finished product. It will be my first cast on to bind off done sweater. The sweater that I wore in my first podcast, as I've said in the first podcast, was a collaboration between me and my grandmother. She started it in I think the 80s and I finished it in the 2000s, whenever it was. I probably picked it up in 2013, finished it in 2014, 15. So 2014, definitely 2014. But I had it for a while before I finished it. So there's that sweater. And then my other whip is a barley hat, which is the very famous barley hat by Tin Can Knits. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and it's just a great, really simple hat. It's basically just a stockinette hat with a nice little garter add-on panel. So it's nice. Easy, simple. I'm using, let me see if I can find the tag. I might not be able to because this bag is a mess. Harrisville Designs Watershed. It's a great yarn. It's called worsted, right? It's nice and springy. And what's cool about it, you probably won't be able to see it, but basically what they do with this yarn is there's a little bit of blue fleck right there. They throw it in with a they basically take the main color, orange, and throw it in with a bunch of little bits of green fiber and blue fiber and purple fiber, and so it all just mixes together, and so it's not just orange, but like a tweedy fleck with like a rainbow tweed. Awesome. Love this yarn. Nice and rustic. Very simple. It's probably going to be for me. If it doesn't fit me, I'll just go into this gift box that I'm trying to get started, because I'm always bad about, oh shoot, I should have made something for this person, and so having a nice little backup would be good. I know a couple other podcasters have been doing it, and so it's given me the inspiration to do it too. So what else? My FO for the week was that art project that I was telling you about. I finished that strip of knit fabric out of twine. I'll put in a photo of it at the end, but it's basically this knit fabric made out of string, and on top of it are all these different cubes that represent my family members. And so it's kind of like, the sculptures about my family, and, kind of how all that stuff kind of works. Well, not how that works, how my family is, what we're like, and, a representation of, symbolism for what we are in, via cubes. That was a horrible explanation, but I hope you get the point. That's it for FOs. Stash enhancement. I have stash enhancement this week. So, I'll talk about this later, but yesterday, my craft club, we went on a yarn shop trip into Princeton, and so, yeah, I just picked up a few things. I had a gift card to the yarn shop. I just never get to stop in there. I just rarely get the opportunity, so whenever I do, I always just try to pick up a few things. First thing I got, which I've never used this before, but I've just fallen in love, it's Malabrigo Rios. Sorry for the weird camera today. I think it's just the lighting. In the... No, that way. There we go. The Archangel colorway. And this is just a beautiful skein of yarn. Again, the lighting in here is horrible. I'm going to work on lighting for next week. Try and do something. Because it's just becoming... It's a little cloudy out, and so it's a little weird. But, yeah. It's a nice orangey tonal with purple bits and green bits and other stuff. So I got that. I also got from the Katya brand the bulky cotton, and this is so soft. It's a little, just a bulky, bulky weight yarn made out of, let's see here, 62% cotton and 38% polymer or nylon, and it's really soft, and I'm using it to make a baby hat or two. Because I have a couple babies that I have to make stuff for. And as I said earlier, I've wanted to make the baby hats. I just haven't had the time to kind of sit down and find something. And the final yarn item that I bought was, I've been talking about these sweater kits, and so I finally got a sundress kit, which is basically, you knit the top of the sundress. It's for a little girl. You knit the top of the sundress, and then it comes with coordinating fabric. And this is a floral, really nice fabric with the mint top. I think it'll just be really cute. So I think this is the smaller size that she makes. Yeah, little, it says on the bottom. Which I'm not making it for anyone in particular, so I'm just going to make it and just kind of, again, put it in that. I think it would be good to have as a backup summer baby present. So that will be good. Yeah. I love her packaging. Again, I shared with you the link last week, but it's www.pinsandneedles.biz, and she sells these kits and the sweater kits with the covered buttons that I told you about a while ago. And they're awesome. They're great kits. This one for the small was $22.95. I think they can range all the way up to close to $30. But I think she uses yarn in the kits that are really sturdy. This is Taki Cotton Classic, which is a really good mercerized cotton, and it doesn't stretch that much. It's nice and glossy too. I've done a couple of those dresses before, and I love them. And I'm going to get to my other... I'm using Taki Cotton Classic for, here, a dress, and it's going to be green. I mean a sweater, I'm sorry, out of the Taki Cotton Classic with these nice little buttons here, as I've shown before. And I hope to get those on the needles, if not done, before I leave for the summer. So there's that. That's stash enhancement. I had a really great time. All the kids... Oh, and I also got a pair of size 7 needles for the... what is it? The barley hat. I knew it was something. The barley hat by Tin Can Knits. The owner of the yarn shop carries Knit Picks Dreams, and if you're in the need for something that's a really good needle, it's slick, and it has a good point to it, Knit Picks Dreams are excellent needles. They're really, really good. The only trouble with the needles is that they put the needle size on there. It's kind of rubbing off, and I've barely used these, so I'm just fair warning. But the good part is they also have started to put the needle size. I forgot to mention that right on the needle. You can kind of see it there, the metal part. And these are just excellent needles. I cannot say enough about them. The cord is the perfect amount of, kind of curliness, and they're just great standard needles, but there's also not too much of a needle there. It's kind of a short wooden part with a nice little metal part. Join is perfect, no snags, great needles. If you're in need, these are the perfect needles. So there's that. Upcoming, I am going to have for our, again, I'm going to put up the, I forgot to put up the Plucky Cow Chatter and FO thread. That's going up today. So from May 17th to June 17th will be the Plucky Cow. So that'll give you exactly a month to knit something up. So this is in the Plucky Knitter Feet in the Green Goddess colorway, I think it is. And that's not what it looks like. It's not that swampy green. It's a much lighter and brighter green. But that does still have that kind of swampy feel to it. Beautiful, beautiful yarn. I love this yarn and I can't wait to work with it. So, and I'm going to do, let me see if I can, you know, find my pattern in here somewhere. I can't be the only one, you know, of you that always has a bag and then stuff just goes in it and then continues to go in it and then just goes in it. Here it is. It goes in it and goes in it and goes in it until you're just like, you know, it's so full that you have to start clearing it out. So let me see here. Sorry for the paper crinkling. Here we go. I'm going to do the Business Casual Socks by Tanis Fiber Arts. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and it basically is an argyle slip stitch technique. Really cool. Thought I might give it a try. So there's that. That's, yeah, just heel flap and gusset. Simple, simple sock. So I'm excited to do that. So there are those. That's going to be upcoming. What else? Handbrake on Cancer. I plan to do so. If you don't watch the Bakery Bears podcast, you totally should. They're a great podcast. Dan and Kay from the UK. That rhymes. And they are actually right now, they're trying to raise money so that they can kind of support themselves and do the podcast. So kind of have the podcast be their job type, which is awesome. You know, I haven't heard of a podcaster yet who's been able to do it. And it's really, really cool. And so go and watch their podcast. Their most recent one kind of talks about how they're trying to raise money. But they just do wonderful, wonderful things. And I am happy to say that I watch their podcast. But anyway, I'm going to use the Jill Draper Make Stuff Windham Terracotta. You guys have seen this before from Vogue Knitting Live. And I'm going to use that to make the pattern that Dan and Kay have put together, and it's called Handbrake on Cancer. Dan had some sort of cancer. I can't remember which one at this moment, but he did have some cancer for through some of the podcast, and so it was hard. You know, I could tell that it was very hard for him, but basically what they did is they created a pattern. If you've ever heard of the Bankhead hat, it's basically a spin off the Bankhead hat, except it's a cowl. And the Bankhead is basically, I'm also going to be doing this for the Gratitude cowl. Oh, and everything that it's on my needles right now and that's coming for upcoming, I'm going to be using for Stash Dash. I have from May 22nd until about the 27th to get a 3K in. I think I can do it. The Stash Dash, let me explain. Back it up, Nick. Slow your brain down. Stash Dash is a cowl that is done by the Knit Girls, which is, again, another podcast that you must watch. They are great. I think they spoke about this in a recent podcast. They are the first video knitting podcasters out there. They do great work. Well, I think the first video podcasters who are continually going. So they've kept it going all these years. They say, no, I think they said 10 years. Is that right? I'm not sure about that. Do not quote me on that. I don't think it's 10 years. Is that possible? It might be. Anyway, they do great work, and basically what Stash Dash is one of their bigger cows of the year. And what they basically do is anything that is stashed in your home is a whip or is as a stashed item you can use to make projects and kind of just destash. And so basically they have like a 3K, a 5K, and a 10K, and it goes from May 22nd all the way to August like 14th, I think. But I leave for camp on the 27th, and I don't have any computers or anything while I'm there, so I'm trying to do a 3K in about a month. I think I can do it. If I really just, I've calculated it out, it's something like 80 some odd yards a day, which is really easy. Like, this is 220, so if I were to knit, I'm not doing my math right, but I'm guessing it's around a quarter. If I were to do about a quarter of this skein for a day, that would cover me. So I think I could totally do it. Wouldn't be hard at all for me. So yeah, handbrake on Cancer. I gotta get that pattern, but yeah, I'm gonna be doing that. And yeah, so on to the question for me, question for you section. And a lot of you guys posted in the question for me thread. So thank you very much. It's great that you guys have posted in there. I love hearing all of your questions. It's so great to see, what you guys want to ask. And I have some really good questions this week. So question number 1, I have 2 questions because I have so many that I kind of want to clear it out before I go away for the summer. So I want to kind of get those questions going. So question number 1, did you paint the mural of the orangutan behind you? This guy right there. I did not. Oh, shoot. I'll talk about it in a second. Did you paint the mural of the orangutan behind you? Yes, I did. I did not paint that mural. What is coming out of my mouth, people? I did not paint that mural. I did not paint that. Do not. Whoa. That was not right. I wish I had painted this mural. There's a lot of them. The orangutan is just one. This guy. We also have an iguana. Right next to me down here, to my right, is a tiger. I have an elephant. I have a jaguar. And I have a parrot and a tree frog. I'm going to stop the podcast once I stop talking. I have a giraffe and a toucan too. A man named Mr. Doctor. I love that name. His name's Mr. Doctor. But he painted all of this. I always remember at the house that I grew up in as a kid. I am still a kid, but when I was young, my room had monkeys painted on it. These dancing monkeys. And I'd always loved having paintings on my walls because I wouldn't be able to stand just having blank walls. And so when we moved to the house that I'm in now, I asked my mom if I could have my walls painted again. And so my mom found somebody who lived in the area, and he said that he would love to paint the walls in my room. So he did some really, really cool work. And it's all inspired by the Amazon rainforest. And I'm going to be right back. Sorry about that, guys. So, as I was speaking about the rainforest, the reason why I stopped the podcast is because the book that this was, I wanted to have, I loved animals and all this sort of stuff. And so, I basically, I asked the painter, what did he think? And so, we had this book that I just had so many really, really cool pictures in it of the rainforest. And so so the man painted a lot of the paintings around me off of the pictures. So this is one. That is behind. It's actually covered up by the brick cube, but it's this really cool painting of the alligator. And this is a picture right here. This is a picture book, but the painting is actually based off of the picture. Another one is on the cover. This toucan is right behind my desk. He's right above it. I'm going to keep going through this, but it's a book called Rainforest by Sarah Oldfield. It's a really cool book that talks about different rainforests around the world. Mine was based off of, a lot of the paintings were based off of the Amazon rainforest, but there are other pictures in here that it's based off of. So I'm just going to go through and see if I can find some of the old photos. I just haven't been through this book in such a long time. But yeah, this is just such a... I was so happy when he did it, and this guy did it in 2 days. 2 days. He only did it in 2 days. It was amazing. I was so surprised how short of a time it took him to complete. Here's the orangutan. I don't think this is the picture. I'm going to see if I can find the picture, but that's one of them. This frog is painted over with a parrot. You know, it's just so cool to see some of this stuff actually really come to life, and be able to have somebody, you know, paint it was just absolutely amazing. I was so happy. I think that's not the elephant. But yeah, I was just, you know, I love this iguana. He's right behind me, right there. This guy. This guy. My directions are still getting weird. That guy right there. Let me see. I'm just quickly gonna try and find this orangutan. I just loved all the pictures in here, and you know, all the inspiration and everything. I was so happy. This, yes. And what's the amazing part is but here's a picture of a tiger. I will take a picture of the walls and show you guys at the end kind of how asimilar the pictures looked. You know, how the paintings look in relation to the pictures. Here it is. The famous mural. There it is. This picture was taken, I think this is from India, but yeah, there's the inspiration behind that. And I think it looks pretty dead on. Let me move this. Right? I think it looks pretty dead on. And the funniest part is my brother, when he first saw this painting, my dad's going to love me for this, but when he first saw this painting, my brother came in here and he said, "That looks like Dad." Yes, that painting, it was hilarious and we all laughed, and I just think it was so cool. Again, I'm going to keep saying this. It was so cool just to have, you know, something like that with, you know, all this sort of stuff. And, you know, the walls are painted green, as you can see. And it's all, you know, I tried to make it so much like a rainforest. I love having it in here. It's so cool. I'm just going to try to quickly go through here to see if I can find the jaguar in here. I don't seem to find it, but yes, Rainforest. This is a really good coffee table book. I love this book. It's such beautiful pictures. It's awesome. So that is the first question for me of the week. Thank you. I'm going to try to pronounce this correctly. Pharma Garumi. And it's her birthday today. So happy birthday, Pharma Garumi. I saw that when I was on Ravelry. Happy birthday. And thank you for asking that question. Somebody else did ask me a question about it. And thank you for asking that question too. But yeah, I thought it would be good for me to explain the whole story behind it. Yeah, I will take some pictures of it and put them at the end of the show. Second question of the week is, you are talented in many different areas and have interests in many different things. Thank you very much. Have you selected a career path or a major or your major for college? Or do you have specific colleges or universities in mind? And that is from KHG Knits. So, colleges. It's always a question I get asked quite often. My goal, I would love to do one of two things. I want to work in the knitwear industry somehow, not on the, you know, fashion side, but more on the actual knitting. And so I would love to do patterns. I would love to do yarn dyeing, you know, something to that would be awesome. I would love to do that. It would just be so much fun to kind of have my hobby, but also have it be my job. You know, I don't know at the moment what my exact career path will be. You know, because that, as I made this up a while ago, but as I've said, I've never said it on a podcast, but if you set out a path for yourself and say, this is where I'm going, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what, this is going to be the rest of my life. How is that right? How is that a good, way to kind of say to yourself? Because that's like being on a train. That's like being on train tracks. You're going by. And even if you see a billboard out the window as you're sitting on the train, you say, ooh, that looks like a good place to go and stop and, get a bite to eat. You can't. The train is going to move. You cannot stop the train and get off and just go and grab something and then get back on and go. It doesn't work that way, right? Train tracks. You're just going to go straight, and you're going to go down in life, and you're just going to be like this. You're not going to see anything. You're not going to be, see anything interesting. You're just going to go straight. But the way that I want to live my life is like driving a car. You can get on the highway, but you have the control to, get off that highway, stop and get something to eat, go and look at a famous monument, and then keep going. And maybe your path might change if, you meet somebody and they say, oh, you have to go to this place. Then you might go in a different direction, right? But what I would like to do right now is I would like to do something in the knitwear industry, of some sort. I'm also, have definitely been interested in sewing and fashion, and I have to see where that might take me, but I think my real skill set is in knitting. And I've tried different crafts. I've tried crochet. I've tried sewing. Well, I'm doing sewing. I love sewing. But, basically, I've tried many other crafts, and knitting is the one that really speaks to me. It was the one that really got me into crafts in the first place. And so I think I would really like to continue with it throughout my life. And I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I will figure it out as I get there. I'm only 15. I still have, my school year this year is coming to an end. I have about 3 more years, and then I go to college, and then that's where the real life decisions have to be made. But until then, that's what I would like to do now. When I'm speaking to you and I'm a senior in high school, I might have a completely different view on everything. And you guys can come back to episode 13 and say, well, he said this when he was a freshman. So I'm not committing to that. I'm not committing to saying I will be a knitwear designer, because I can't say that. How could I say that? How could I restrict myself? It's not right. So yeah. All right. Let me answer the next part. Your major for college. So knitwear, some sort of design knitwear item of sorts. And do you have any specific colleges or universities in mind? So the two that always come to mind whenever I think of knitwear or design are RISD, which is Rhode Island School of Design, and it is a great school where they have a knitting program there, like an actual hand knitting program there. And I think that if I want to take the hand knitting route, that's going to be my best bet. But if I want to go into more general design, I would love to go to FIT. Fashion Institute, I think Fashion Institute of Technology. Fashion Institute and Technology. It's something along that lines, FIT. But they do have a knitwear program there, but it's more based towards the fashion industry. So, again, I don't know where I'm going to go to school. I have many years to decide that. But until then, that's what I would like to do now. If I had to go to college right now, I would choose to go to one of those two schools. But, again, my ideas might completely change. So, that is that. Thank you for those questions, guys. I really appreciate getting your questions, and more will be answered next week. Now, the question of the week for you is, what is your favorite graphic novel, comic book, graphic novel, or fantasy novel? Put it in the episode 13 thread. And give me your answers. I love finding out about new stuff. As I've told my whole saga behind it, but I've really gotten into comic books and I love them. And yeah. So there's that. Knitting club update. We went on our yarn shop trip yesterday. As I said, we had a great time. I'll try and put in a couple of pictures at the end. But we just had such a great time. The kids bought yarn, then we went to go and get ice cream, and then we went to the record store in town. So we just had a really great time, and yeah, we just hope to. It was a nice, beautiful day out, no rain, just really, really nice day. Just enjoying looking at yarn. They all bought a little something at the yarn shop, and they're going to make a little something. It was good. We had a really good time, nice little outing, and I hope to do it again in the near future, probably in the fall. Our cow, as I said, the Plucky Knitter cow, that thread is going up tonight. I'm going to do that tonight. So basically anything that is made out of Plucky Knitter yarn counts. So one project equals one post in the thread. So if you have 2 projects, that's 2 posts. Fair? Yeah, so it just your project has to be made out of Plucky Knitter yarn. And you might ask, well, where can I get Plucky Knitter yarn? Well, there are 2 options for you. Number 1, getting it on Ravelry stash pages. I explained it last week. If you're interested in more detail, look at last week. But basically, just go onto the yarn site page, and up on the top bar, you'll see, 3,000 stashed or whatever. There will be a certain number. Click on it, and then you can filter through and find, things that people are willing to trade or sell. So look at that, or you can go to the actual Plucky Knitter website, and there they have regular updates. Again, it's not regular, but it's as regular, it's, again, it will probably be hard for you to get the yarn in time for the cow, but it's another resource. Yeah, so I think that's it. On to Clabber. So weather, it has been beautiful out. Last night it really rained hard, which was honestly good, because we've had a lot of pollen lately, like ridiculous amount of pollen. And so the rain, I think, kind of washed a little bit of it away. It's still there, but it's not as heavy. School, as of Monday, tomorrow, I have 2 more weeks of school, which is wonderful. 2 more weeks and then finals. But I'm so excited to finally just get out of school. It seems, surreal. It feels like I just started at, my new school, and I'm just so happy that I'm there. And I'm kind of happy to wind down into the summer and just have a good time. Spring, again, I'm actually gonna change that in the show notes to summer, because it really is just turning into summer. We never really had a spring. It went from being really cold, 60s, 50s, 40s, to being 80s, 70s, just really hot. And today it was really, really hot. So, yeah. Sewing is good. I'm still working on those dresses. The girl who I made them for, I didn't measure it out just right, so the bottom, it looked like she was in a mermaid dress, so like she couldn't walk really well. So I'm adding some panels on the sides that I think are going to look pretty cool. I'm doing that tonight. I'm also going to be making beekeeping suits for the beekeeping club at my school, which is going to be awesome. I'm really excited to make those. And what else? I think, and I want to make eventually, before I leave for camp, there's a lot I want to do, is make a 1-hour basket. It's a pattern that's on Craftsy, and I've seen it being made by a bunch of people, but it just seems like a good, simple project that I can do. And I have some nice fabric for it. So, that's on sewing front. Another thing I wanted to mention was this TV show called Comic Book Men. I think I've mentioned it before, but it's a really cool show about a store that's pretty close to me. It's in New Jersey, I'd say, half an hour away. It's on AMC, but it's just a cool show where they have lots of memorabilia that comes in. It's kind of like, if you've ever watched the Pawn Stars or anything along that lines. It's very similar, except it's strictly, geekdom. So, comic books, action figures, stuff like that. And other. I think that's it. Just happy to sort of start winding down the year and kind of just start to relax. It'll be good. So I think that is it. Oh, and Daredevil. I wrote that in there too. I'm going to start watching that show, Daredevil. The Marvel show that's on Netflix. I've never read any of the Daredevil comics, but I've heard that it's really, really good. So I'm going to start watching that. And I think that's it. So I'm going to start to wrap it up. Thank you very much for joining me. Please make sure that you post any suggestions that you might have for the podcast in the podcast suggestions thread, or what do you want to see on the podcast. Put that there. Oh, the sound wasn't right. Oh, the lighting was bad. Whatever. Just post it in there. I love to hear your comments, and thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you have a wonderful week. Join the group, Nick's Knits Podcast, and let me know what you think. PM me, put in any questions for me thread or podcast suggestions thread. Just throw anything you might have for me there. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you all next Sunday. Have a great day. Happy knitting. Binary.